Right, folks, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar, one of Asia's finest guitar collections. Today, it's the Halloween special, and so we have a very special Halloween guitar. I can think of no other guitar in the collection that can deserve a Halloween special. It begins with the case. This is not a regular PRS case. A regular PRS case looks like this. If you have something like a modern eagle, you get this beautiful velvet. If you have an artist pack or a wood library, you get this black paisley. If you have a private stock or the original Paul's guitar, you get this beige paisley, two options. If you have a crazy Japanese PRS, you get a purple case. If you get to choose what case you want, you can choose the Western Tolex in brown or in black, but you can't get one of these. This particular case, this dark gray haunted color, maybe not haunted but definitely dark, is reserved for one guitar and one guitar only. This guitar, before I show you, I have to tell you what it is, though you've read the thumbnail, is inspired by 19th century Gothic literature. It's got Edgar Allan Poe written all over it, with a touch of Frankenstein, with a touch of Dracula. It is made from wood from the 19th century, and it even has an appropriate name. And the name is the PRS Private Stock McCarty 594. That's just the regular model it's based on. Graveyard too. And just look at that. There are normal nitro finishes and flame tops. That's a very good example. That's a beautiful PRS and it's in the light. I'm going to bring this down so you can just get a sense, just to show you the difference. So this is a normal finish, which is very nice, but look at that. Look at how much more spectacular the top is, and look at how much brighter the top is. It's the same lighting, mind you. So that is one of the things that makes this Graveyard 2 extremely special. Is the color. It's a special color for this one, but it's not about the color. We'll talk about the color, but it's not about the color. It is rather about this. I didn't plan that unveil, but the unveil is happening anyway. It is about this. It is about this beautiful piece of art that is the fretboard and the headstock, where you basically have birds flying out in a night in Gothic sky, all the way to, of course, a raven. Edgar Allan Poe would be very, very happy right now. The craziness doesn't end there. It begins there, because at the back you have a piece of wood that looks like it was taken out of the earth from a graveyard perhaps. And then you have a equally spectacular neck. So, some of you know what this guitar is, but I'm going to tell you what it is anyway, because most of you don't. This is a Paul Reed Smith Private Stock Graveyard 2. This was a very limited run, 60 pieces, made in 2017 or 2018. And what this concept of this whole series started off with the wood, because this maple was sourced from 150-year-old trees or older trees than that, maple trees of some graveyards in the east coast of the US. They made two runs. The Graveyard 1 was much more traditional looking, but the Graveyard 2 is where they went ballistic. And overall, the Graveyard 2 is much more desirable. So the specials for this guitar, and this may be a good time for me to open up what you get with every private stock. This is called a certificate. You open it up. By the way, you need to keep these if you ever get a private stock, because this tells you everything you need to know. It's like a certificate of authenticity, but it's also an essential part of the guitar. Do not lose it. PRS do not replace it. So you have that. And in this particular guitar's case, I have the warranty and user guide from the person who sold it to me, which was Music Force in Korea. Okay, I bought this guitar new back in 2019. In fact, my last trip before the pandemic hit was to Korea, and this was the guitar that I bought, rather appropriately. Let's have a look through. McCarty 594 curly maple neck. I showed you the dramatic neck wood over there. Then top wood, graveyard curly maple. This is the 150-year-old wood I was telling you about. The back wood that resembles something coming out of a coffin is swamp ash, finished in this proprietary finish that only PRs know how to do. Kiesel are trying to copy them, but they don't compare. The color, Raven's Heart. So what is Raven's Heart? It's not just red, it's black into purple. Can you see the purple? There you go. Very subtle purple into red, into the darkest red, the graveyard red. That's colors called Raven's Heart. And that black to purple to red transition is also replicated on the neck, which you can see over here. So that's the color. Fingerboard inlay, ebony ravens in flight. So this is a very unusual fretboard where it transitions from ebony to flame maple. So beyond the artwork, which I told you about, it is amazing. How this works is you basically have an ebony fretboard with ebony binding, and then they inlay the flame maple on top of the ebony. So it's basically an ebony fretboard with a flame maple veneer, if that's one way of looking at it. Whatever it is, the effect is spectacular. Ebony raven on the headstock, high gloss nitro. So this is like a Gibson in that sense. It will wear out. The electronics and specs are fairly standard. It's a McCarty 594, which means 24.594 scale length. 2 humbuckers, 5815 LT, which is the same as McCarty 594. Difference is all the hardware and electronics are smoked black to match the darker aesthetic. And controls are the same. You have 3-way switch and volume, tone individual for each pickup. The case type, as I told you earlier, is a special one. It's private stock black and tuna. Matching back plates is something else to point out. So you probably didn't notice it's not a one-piece back, but it's a one-piece wood where they've carved out the back plates for the electronic, for the switch layout, as well as the back. It's all very beautiful, very flush, just remarkable. The strap locks on these are non-standard because I got, for every expensive guitar that I get, and since I play my guitars, I get the normal strap locks replaced to locking tuners, locking strap locks, so they don't fall. So yeah, it is just an incredible guitar. We are going to take it over to the station and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it plays, how it sounds, my overall review after owning this for a few years now, and what I plan to do with it. It just struck me that I forgot to show you what's inside. So of course you have the certificate, but that's not where the case candy begins and ends. This is what you get with most PRS guitars. I'm going to open this up for you. Thank you for bearing with me. So you have a PRS sticker, which I've never used, honestly. You have guitar operating instructions, pretty standard. You have the key for the case over here. I've opened it. You have a little bit of a brochure from PRS. Come visit us. I don't mind. I haven't visited PRS yet. And then finally, you have the registration, encouraging you to register your PRS. On top of that, this is stuff that I have put in here. But I have an extra pair of strings. That's okay. Original strap buttons. These, by the way, are important. You don't normally get smoked black PRS strap buttons. So while I don't use them, they are integral, original part of the guitar, so they're going to be here. And then you have something I think that the dealer gave me, some picks and a little bit of a microfiber cloth. All right, now we'll go to the station for real, shall we? All right, folks, we're at the station. I have the 594 Graveyard 2 with me. Let me tell you a little bit about how I got this guitar, and let me tell you a little bit about this guitar, how it feels, and show you some sounds and the final opinion as well. How I got this guitar was that we had a business trip in Korea, but the story, like many stories, began a year or so earlier. When PRS announced this model, I was in love with it. I just love the whole. I love Gothic literature to begin with. I love Gothic bands such as Cradle of Filth or anything that's a little bit black metal like Dimmu Borgir. And I love Les Pauls, with the 594, or rather the Epiphone Les Paul being my first guitar and the 594 being my main guitar at the time. So when they announced a Gothic 594, it was as if PRS had read my mind and made the guitar for me. The barrier that I had about getting one of these was they were really expensive. They cost 3 times as much as my 594 cost. And it was basically the same guitar functionally, right? It's just a 594. So I couldn't quite justify it to myself. And even if I could, it was very difficult to find one because there wasn't one locally. And they were all over the world. And there was never one that I could get my hands on. And the ones that were in Japan were costing a ridiculous amount of money because of the exchange rate fluctuations and the yen. So I didn't end up getting anything until I went to Korea, and I just decided to pop down to a music shop there. I didn't know anything much about that music shop. My wife actually went to get a shoot done at one of the palaces, and I went to the music shop. I spotted this. The price was okay. It was still outrageous. It wasn't as high as the Japanese ones. And at that point in time, I had also thought that I was not going to get this guitar because even the Japanese ones had been sold. So I asked my wife whether I could get it, and then she was very supportive, and voila, I got it. It was still a big jump because I wasn't sure why did I get another same model, but looking at it, playing it, it was just something that you had to do, right? Sometimes you don't think from the head, you think from the heart. Again, in retrospect, very happy that I got it for 2 or 3 reasons. One, I think this is a particularly good example. There is variation in the tops between the whole run and the backs. This, in my, not unbiased, but in my opinion, has one of the best tops and definitely the best back of the run. It is also, like most of these guitars are, incredibly well weighted, incredibly well balanced, a great guitar beyond the aesthetics. And these are super rare and quite desirable now. So if I didn't get it then, I would probably have to pay more if I could even get a new example. I couldn't get a new example again. And even if I could get a used example, it would not be as nice. So in retrospect, I'm very happy I got it. Let me show you some sounds. This basically sounds like a Les Paul, a brighter Les Paul. Some would attribute it to the maple and the swamp ash. I do that as well. But if you're a tonewood skeptic, don't worry about it. Just know that it's a brighter Les Paul. Neck pickup tone. Very nice and bright. Middle position. So clear. Very nice. We'll do the coil splits in a second. Bridge position, again well balanced, brighter, but basically what you would expect from a really good R9, if at all. If probably better than a really good R9. Let's put some dirt on it. It has clarity, such an overused phrase, but the thing with this is this guitar, despite having low output pickups, has clarity and power. And that power is an unusual thing. It's not a push and output kind of power. It is just power in vibration, if that makes any sense. It just vibrates so much. that does electricity under your fingers. Yeah. If you see, compared to my other unboxing videos, I'm tending to play this one a fair amount. I'm just going to mute my phone for a second. And it's because this guitar is just a player's guitar. It is, imagine all the upsides of a Les Paul without any of the downsides. Downsides being weight, accessibility. Some people don't like the way they look, some people do, but a lot of more modern players think that they look very old-fashioned. This does not look old-fashioned. This does not weigh anything. And this definitely has accessibility for days and years. So for me, in a way, this is the ultimate Les Paul. It's not a Gibson, but it doesn't matter. It is probably a better way of reproducing the tone of a 59 Les Paul because of all the research that Paul Reed Smith did behind the 594 model. So the bass of this guitar is incredible, and then it gives it this amazing, both aesthetic as well as functional choices in terms of the woods to make this thing incredibly special. One thing I particularly like about this guitar is it doesn't just look gothic and heavy. Despite being a low output, vintage inspired guitar, this thing takes gain like a beast. And we're going to put this in drop D and have a little bit of riffing fun. Alright, we're in drop D now. I'm going to put it into a nice high gain amp. Let's switch it on. It's surprisingly easy to get pinch harmonics on this, and that is usually not the case with low output pickup. So again, to me, goes back to the vibration of this. Some other quick notes. The neck shape, same as all 594s, patterned vintage, which is like a 59 but asymmetrical. Body woods is different from 594s, as I mentioned in the unboxing. Swamp ash body, maple neck instead of all mahogany. And I think all of these things contribute to making this an incredible guitar. My particular plans for this guitar, this one is one of those on the never sell list. It is my dream 594. I mean, if I really had to sell it, I would do it, but it would definitely cause me some pain to do it. So this one is just staying there. I've had it for a few years. You know, this one is pristine. Do you know how pristine this is? It is so pristine that I've not even changed the strings. Not because I'm trying to keep them dirty, but because I don't play it that much. I play it now and then. And I keep it in with all the dehumidification and all the necessary ways of preserving it, that the strings are basically just what they were. These are the original strings. I put a pair of DR of 10 to 46s to change it, I remember, and you saw in the unboxing it's still there. So that tells you something. Anyways, incredible guitar. Very happy to have it. Hope you enjoyed taking a look at it. It is definitely a special thing. And till the next unboxing.